Above the South China Sea, two shadows move faster than sound. One belongs to the People's Liberation Army Air Force, a prototype so secret it doesn't even have a name. The other? It's American, undetected and unannounced. No official confirms their presence, no radar tracks their path, but deep inside two military command centers in Beijing and in Washington, alerts flash red. This is the battlefield of speed, supremacy at Mach 6. Because if China wants to lead the skies, it needs to outrun America. And America, it's been building fast jets before China even had a jet engine. Truth is simple, the fastest one lives to strike, and history proves it. The time is the late 1940s. As jet technology matured, the U.S. Air Force, fresh with post-World War II confidence, deployed the F-86 Sabre, a nimble fighter that could touch Mach 1 in a dive, breaking the sound barrier. Not long after, in the same exact year, 1949, 5,000 miles away in the Soviet Union, the MiG-15 was quickly unveiled to match it. The Cold War was heating up, and its focus at this time was air superiority. The United States and the Soviet Union had turned their gaze upward, where speed was power, and the fastest aircraft could tilt the balance of global dominance in favor of whichever country wielded it. By the late 1950s, it was the U.S.'s turn to make a move. The CIA, wary of Soviet missile advancements, needed a spy plane that could fly untouchable altitudes and outrun any interceptor. Led by the legendary Clarence Kelly Johnson, the secretive Skunk Works division of Lockheed Martin. At this time, still only Lockheed answered the CIA's call with the A-12. The A-12 was a game changer. It was a sleek titanium marvel, capable of traveling at 3 times the speed of sound when it really wanted to push the envelope. The U.S. Air Force watched and was intrigued by the CIA's new toy. They wanted theirs, and it would push them well in the lead over the Soviets, and they were thirsty for that. In the most expensive aircraft program in history at the time, Lockheed presented the Air Force with the fastest aircraft the world had ever seen, the iconic SR-71 Blackbird. Born in 1964, the SR-71 was a 108-foot-long, 56-foot-wide beast of a machine. It could hit Mach 3 speeds in its sleep. It had no weapons. It didn't need them. When enemies shot at it, it simply accelerated to speeds faster than any bullet or missile could reach. They couldn't catch it, so it was never shot down despite many attempts. On July 28, 1976, the Blackbird set an absolute airspeed record of 2,193 miles per hour, or 3,530 kilometers per hour for the metric system fans. This was the highest speed ever officially recorded by an air-breathing jet. Yet, it was only Mach 2.8, which was enough to surpass the prior record by over 100 miles per hour. The SR-71's officially specified top speed is Mach 3.3, and when pushed to its max, that point where all the measuring avionics go red, the Blackbird can reportedly hit an unbelievable Mach 3.5. To this day, the SR-71 Blackbird still holds the record for the fastest air-breathing jet ever. However, it was fully retired by 1999. After its retirement, the Soviet Union's MiG-25 and MiG-31 found themselves in the lead in terms of speed. Prior to the SR-71's retirement, there were failed attempts at surpassing the speed of the mean black machine. All of a sudden, now they were in front. And unlike the Blackbird, they had weapons, lots of weapons. The U.S.'s big response at the time was the McDonnell Douglas F-15 Eagle, introduced in 1976, but its Mach 2.5 top speed was a joke compared to the Mach 2.83 of both the MiG-25 and MiG-31. Now, of course, there were many experimental American aircraft that reached Mach 1, million or billion or trillion or whatever, but in terms of actual operational aircraft, post-1999, post the SR-71 retirement, the Soviets, now Russia, was well in the lead in terms of speed. And it got even worse in 2005 for the U.S. when the F-22 Raptor was unveiled. It was the world's first fifth-generation aircraft. It was intelligent, stealthy, maneuvered like a gymnast, but its top speed was a meager Mach 2.25. 10 years later, in 2015, another fifth-generation fighter was unveiled, the single-engine F-35 Lightning II. At its top speed, an embarrassing Mach 1.6, less than half the top speed of the SR-71. At this point, it was obvious that the U.S. Air Force had given up on blurry speeds leading its strategy. The service's focus was now on intelligence, stealth, maneuverability, and more advanced strategies. Brute force in the form of speed seemed out of date. It worked for a while. The F-35 was the most intelligent fighter in history. It can spot targets from forever away and make the best decisions to handle said targets. The F-22 Raptor is widely regarded as the most lethal fighter in the world, thanks to its agility, incredible stealth, and advanced weapons, among other fifth-generation stuff. However, now Russia, and not just Russia, but China too, have successfully built super stealthy, agile aircraft with impressive weapon loadouts, such as the Su-57 Felon and the J-20 Mighty Dragon, fifth-generation fighters. They haven't exactly crushed the Raptor's party, as the Raptor is still considered the most lethal, but they've come uncomfortably close to it. So once again, the U.S. Air Force must ask itself, what capabilities do we focus on to see our fighter jets much more superior than those of our rivals? The answer, once again, speed, but this time 21st century speed. In the 21st century, Mach 5 is the minimum jaw-dropping number. The minimum speed to qualify for hypersonic. The SR-71, while widely referred to as hypersonic during its day, would be slow by today's standards. And that says a lot. If the fastest conventional aircraft in history is too slow by today's standards, what kind of aircraft must China, the latest major contender, Russia, and the United States build to dominate the skies? Let's open their hangars to find out. This is the Feitian 2. China's entry into the 21st century hypersonic race was developed by Northwestern Polytechnical University in China and is already breaking ground. In a test on June 25th this year over northwestern China, it achieved a speed of Mach 12. That's roughly 3 times faster than the SR-71. This is reportedly possible via a rocket-based combined cycle engine, which is basically a combination of a regular jet engine and a rocket engine. This hybrid engine uses kerosene hydrogen peroxide as fuel, which is lighter, enhancing efficiency and payload capacity for sensors or weapons. Its design features larger tail fins, new wings, and a variable geometry intake, ensuring stability and maneuverability at 100,000 feet. Autonomous systems enable real-time trajectory adjustments, making it nearly untouchable by radar or missiles. Building on the progress of the Feitian 1 from a few years ago, the airframe of the Feitian 2 will feature advanced ceramics and active cooling that can withstand up to 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit of temperature, more than a third of the temperature of the surface of the sun. If the Feitian 2 lives up to all these features and capabilities in an operational fashion, then it could easily be the fastest air-breathing aircraft in all of history and give the U.S. and Russia a reason to give up. However, this is a big ask of the Feitian 2, as it is now a scaled-down jet building project by bright minds in a university, which means it still might be quite a long way from being a major project of the Chinese Air Force. The MiG-41 is a next-generation Russian interceptor designed to succeed the MiG-31. It's being developed under Russia's PAC-DP program, which is eyeing a 2028 prototype test flight. Powered by pulse detonation or hybrid engines, such as turbine-based combined cycle engines, the MiG-41 aims at a top speed of Mach 4 to 5 and a flight ceiling of up to 150,000 feet. Incredible, jaw-dropping number for sure that would enable the jet to rival its American and Chinese counterparts in terms of speed and soar above them. Literally, in terms of altitude. Its capabilities include advanced radar, integration with the S-500 air defense system, and carriage of hypersonic missiles like the Kinzhal or its successors. The MiG-41 may feature manned or optional unmanned operation with high-temperature alloys ensuring structural integrity at extreme speeds. While specific tests remain classified, Russia's 2025 trials of the Mach 8 flying 3M-22 Zircon missile suggest that Russia is making waves in hypersonic technology, waves that the MiG-41 could ride on. Well, over a decade ago, Lockheed Martin announced the possible development of an SR-72 son of Blackbird. Since then, it's been radio silence, aside from the occasional reminders of the possible extension of an SR-72 in a hangar somewhere to excite the Blackbird fans. However, when U.S. President Trump announced the development of the F-47 in 2025, with the F-47 reportedly possibly hypersonic, it became clear that the SR-72 might simply have morphed into something more, into the sixth-generation fighter of the U.S. Air Force. The F-47 will mainly be developed by Boeing, but in some partnership with Lockheed Martin, powered by next-generation adaptive cycle turbofan engines developed under the next-generation adaptive propulsion program by Pratt & Whitney and General Electric. The F-47 is designed to operate optimally at every speed class it can obtain, be it subsonic, supersonic, or hypersonic. The F-47 is expected to begin entering service by 2028, marking a new era in U.S. air superiority. Superiority achieved via not only the F-47 speed, but ultra-modern telestealth, super-sensitive sensors, intelligent avionics, army of loyal wingmen, and so on. In a world in the future, a hypothetical world, these three aircraft would be the representatives of three of the world's most powerful superpowers. In this hypothetical world, two of them, China's Tianwen-2 and the U.S.'s F-47, could encounter each other in an increasingly likely U.S.-China conflict over Taiwan. And if that happens, it would be interesting to see how that would play out, especially since, please, reviewers, stand by. We just got an emergency call on our urgent mission that must be executed. In 3, 2, 1. Boom! Word from an anonymous source is that China is preparing to deploy an offensive strike from a missile site in the Chinese city of Fujian, a strike that U.S. intelligence surprisingly wasn't aware of, and yet could tilt the balance of war well in favor of China. Surely, the U.S. needs to find out what this strike is as quickly as now. The U.S. Indo-Pacific Command, based in Guam, deploys the F-47 at 0200 hours from Kadena Air Base, Japan. The sixth-generation jet, operational since 2028, cruises at Mach 2.5 with adaptive cycle turbofan engines, blending stealth, AI-driven sensor fusion, and loyal wingman drones. Its mission: infiltrate Chinese airspace, map missile sites on Fujian's coast, and exit undetected. At 80,000 feet, its low observable design evades initial radar, while onboard AI coordinates two loyal wingman drones for decoy and jamming support. At 0220 hours, 50 miles from Kinmen, China's HQ-29B air defense system, upgraded with quantum radar and Beidou satellite integration, detects the F-47's faint signature. The Chinese Air Force scrambles the Tianwen-2, operational since 2030, from Xiamen, capable of Mach 12 via its kerosene-powered rocket-based combined cycle engine. The Tianwen-2 climbs to 100,000 feet, its autonomous systems tracking the F-47's heat trail. Enhanced with larger fins and variable geometry intakes, it maneuvers unpredictably, wielding electro-optical sensors and hypersonic missiles. By 0223 hours, the Tianwen-2 closes within 30 miles, its jamming pods disrupting the F-47 satellite uplink. The F-47's AI detects the threat, accelerating to Mach 3 and deploying a loyal wingman drone as a decoy. The Tianwen-2, undetected, sustains Mach 10. Its ceramics enduring 2,700 degrees Fahrenheit heat and locks onto the F-47 with AI-guided precision. The F-47 dives to 60,000 feet, banking sharply. The Tianwen-2 isn't agile enough to follow suit. Already has a lock on the F-47 and fires a YJ-21 hypersonic missile. The F-47's countermeasures deflect the missile, but data collection is compromised. At 0226 hours, the F-47 aborts, fleeing at Mach 2.8 towards international waters. The Tianwen-2, fuel-limited, breaks off pursuit. Through its successors, China had gathered critical F-47 performance data, but gave off some performance data of its own. The U.S. secured partial intelligence on the missile sites, but faces diplomatic fallout. This hypothetical world isn't so hypothetical either. Speed is making a comeback. The most powerful militaries in the world must make most of every weapon available to them to maintain a strategic edge over their rivals. Speed is one of such weapons, and although the US forgot that for a minute, its reignited rivalry with Russia and now China have served as a shocking reminder. The race to the fastest jet in the world is on, and the only way to help any of these countries win is by subscribing to this channel and giving this video a like. So do that now, and thanks for watching.